Yo, what's good guys, VENM here back from the video, and today I'm going to be talking about the most frustrating coverage defense in Madden 21, the defense that has given me the most trouble as well as my opponents when I run this myself. So, before we get into the video though, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed. We're on the road to 10k subscribers. Hit that sub for more tips, turn on notifications to be notified every time I upload. So let's just hop straight into it. The formation we're going to be running is $326. I'm in the Kansas City Chiefs defensive playbook just because I like nickel normal, 3-3-5, big nickel, and they got a couple of 3-4 and 4-3 sets. Again, this play can also be ran out of big dime 1-4-6 and the big dime 2-3-6. They're basically the same formations, just a different name. So with the dollar, one thing I like about it is that you can just get safeties and DBs all over the field. So you see I have 8 DBs on the field. We got our cornerbacks, 4 corners, and then we just got 4 safeties. What I did is I just subbed out these linebackers and put safeties in at linebacker. You want more speed, and in a year where usering is not the best, you need as much speed and agility as you can get at the linebacker position. Anyways, with that being said, let's hop into the play. The play we're running today is going to be this cover 1 robber press. I'm going to show you how to adjust out of it against certain formations, try and give you guys a lot of looks. I'm going to start out with a base setup and then move into a more advanced setup. And I also have this DB Fire 2 play. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but if you want that video, make sure you spam it up. I might drop that within the next week. Anyways, let's just get straight into it. Alright guys, here we are coming out on the field. Here's a look at the player on offense. I'm going to be running this tight end corner. You see corner routes, post routes, out routes. Let's see how the man coverage will react to that. I wanted to give you a pretty good man beating play, although it won't beat it. But man coverage really is the move. Always in the beginning of the year, the zones are very bad this year. If you run a stock cover 3, you're able to give up 15 yards on a simple flatter out route. So a lot of people have just been going with man coverage because zone coverage isn't good. So dollar, you see against certain formations in the dollar, you will notice that I have both the slot cornerbacks on the left side or the bunch side. Anyways, the setup though is going to be press. You'll notice that this guy isn't pressing because I already had clicked onto him, but you're going to press. He'll probably move down like right here. And once you're pressed, make sure you do these key adjustments. You're going to shade over the top and shade outside. What that does is it makes sure that you can't get burnt. So even if I were to motion over Jamison Crowder on the offensive side of the ball, like this player put him on a streak and I wasn't shaded over the top and outside, I might get burnt. So that's something that's going to be a key adjustment you do. So just shade over the top, shade outside. I do that right when I press them to make sure that I don't forget or get stuck in an adjustment. So that was the first setup, or the first step. Next thing you do is you put the player that is blitzing right here. You throw him into a curl flat zone. So it's going to look like this. Now, for this first setup, the guy I like to use is just going to be this player who is manned up on the running back. A lot of times, people block the running backs, especially in this game and just passing the ball in general. Typically, it's the bots that send their running backs on routes every time, but you could end up facing someone, and if you are, what you could do is just end up using him. But for the first setup, I'm going to say user the guy who's manned up to the linebacker, so it's going to look like this. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So you just put your blitzing linebacker in a curl flat, and then you just pressed, shade over the top, and shaded outside. If you don't know how to do that, you just press Y, and then you press the right stick up, and then you press Y again, the right stick to the right. So let's just go ahead, hike the ball, and we will see what happens here. You see the running back's not on a route. I throw it the corner route, and look at that. That's a 70 overall DB just completely locking up a cornerback. That's not Chris Harris Jr., and I specifically move those guys to the outside to show you that you don't need a Stephon Gilmore or a Jalen Ramsey and regs to lock up people in man coverage. That was like, again, a 70 overall, I think, just locking him up. So anyways, I'll go over that setup again. Just press your defense, shade over the top, shade outside, just like that. Sorry for talking a little bit slow there, I got confused, but what you're going to do is put X in a curl flat. Now, sometimes he will go to the line of scrimmage. What you do is you just click onto him, and then he'll back up. You don't really want him hovered over the line. Not sure why he does that, but it is what it is. And then again, you're just using Jenkins. This is the first setup. Now, the reason I like this setup is because if he were to burn your outside corner on maybe a deep post or a streak up the middle, what you have is a great base defense behind you. You have a in middle third to defend any posts or deep streaks over the middle. You also have this 3 rec that's going to lurk zones. It's pretty much like another user over the field. I love that 3 receiver hook zone. And lastly, you have the curl flat on the left. You always put the curl flat on the wide side, so even if the wide side were the right, I would just go like this and user Gilman right here. Obviously, we want the curl flat on the bunch side to defend corner routes or help out with those types of things. And the good thing about the man coverage is it's really good against underneath routes. It's going to be good against out routes. It's going to be good against flats, so you're not giving up 15 yards apiece on those. But let's snap the ball again here, and you will notice the running back actually came out, but let's throw the tight end corner out. Again, it's completely locked up. Nothing is open for my opponent. So anyways, let's just hop into the next set of adjustments, and I actually kind of want to show you guys a different look. Let's go with verticals. So verticals, man beating play in the past. I'll just try and set up a base adjustment. But anyways, on defense, you see again, both those slot cornerbacks did move over to that right side. So again, you're just going to press. You're going to shade outside, shade over the top. And what I like to do again is move this player just a little bit over because he's manned up with the tight end. And keep in mind, bunch is a formation where they do block their tight end a lot of the time. So if they do end up blocking, he's actually going to act up as a spy. But not only that, he will still defend those delay fades. So in this case, you see this player is still blitzing, but Jenkins is the one manned up, or he's on the bunch side. So what you do is you put Jenkins in the curl flat still, and then you can still user Gilman here. But with this play, what I'm going to do differently is I'm actually going to put RB in the curl flat. So we got 2 curl flats. If you want, you can set your zone drops to about 20. They work fine base though. So here's a look at your defense. You could run it like this, or what I could do is maybe I want safety help over the right-hand side. I could throw Derwin in a deep half. I could also throw him in an inside third. It really does depend what you want. Typically against a bunch, what I would do is I would probably throw him in a deep half and then just use the middle of the field myself. Nothing really should be able to burn you to that side, but again, it comes down to your personal preference. Either way works. Now, keep in mind when you're running this setup, you don't have to really worry about the outsides as much. You don't have to worry about out routes. So you really are just like dig routes, maybe post routes, or even slants. So again, let's just snap this ball, and you will notice the routes did get bumped a little bit. But look at that coverage. Look at the wheel route completely locked up. And typically, that wheel route would beat man coverage in past years. But this year, for whatever reason, it actually doesn't, which isn't the worst thing for defenders, but it is kind of unfortunate for bunch users. So let's just go ahead, hop into another formation. Again, I'm trying to give you the whole 9 yards with this, not trying to only show it against one play and you guys get confused, or I bait you guys into running this when it's not really good. But let's go into a PA crossers type setup. Typically, this is a setup that I would run where I motion them over and I throw them on a slant. Now, even the good thing about this is when you motion players over, at least one defender will always move over. So I motion him all the way over to the right. Now you see the cornerback on the right is completely manned up with him. Nothing crazy will happen with motion, which is always nice, and it's something you don't have to worry about. So getting into it, again, the adjustments. Make sure you're careful on those outside guys. Make sure that you are, and typically you will be pressed automatically. You see that the defender's already jamming at the line of scrimmage. Just make sure you shade outside. You shade over the top. Again, I like to shade outside so they have the outside leverage. So if it were an old school fade to the right side, I wouldn't be able to get burnt by that. But again, the player I'm putting in a curl flat, it would probably be him, because I'm not worried about the tight end burning my man coverage too much, especially with a low overall tight end. So I'm going to go like this. And even if I wanted to, something I could do is just throw both these linebackers actually in a curl flat, and then I could still actually use my safety, which is something that is always nice to have. Or I could go with something like this, where I put the other safety in a curl flat and I keep this guy in a hook curl. Again, just mix things up. For now, we will go with this, but typically I like to have one deep zone. If you're playing a little bit risky, you could always go without a deep zone, but I like to at least have one guy in the middle of the field or in a deep half, whatever the case is. So let's just go ahead. Let's hike the ball here. Boom. Let's lurk that slant route. Now, for whatever reason, my curl flat didn't play deep, but typically, if I had my curl flats zone drop set, which I probably should have done before I started this video, make sure you have your curl flat zone drop set to 25 yards or typically I run 20 or 25, but the curl flat should defend the crosser right there. I don't even I have mine on default, and you've seen the crosser actually did open up, so be careful about that. But again, you can really just mix between these, and even if I wanted to, I could always mix in maybe a cornerback blitz. I could blitz B off the edge if I wanted to, and then maybe I man up this safety on him. Again, you're just mixing things up. I could always blitz this linebacker, or if I had to QB spy, I could throw Gilman in a spy, and then I could bring the other people in coverage. I don't have to worry about those hitch routes over the middle of the field if I have a QB spy, and I can defend the scramble option as well. Again, it's just mixing things up. You want to confuse your opponent, but make sure that you do just keep that man coverage shell. That is really the main part of the defense. I could always throw R1 here in a curl flat just so that he's already on that side, not too much to worry about. And then maybe I throw one of these linebackers in the middle third, and I can really user whoever I want here. I could also, anytime I want, user Desmond King here, so I already manned somebody up on his responsibility, so I can actually user the corner, and I get a lot more speed, so I can lurk down on this. And again, you see just everything covered, even that post route completely covered. Now, the routes you want to watch out for in man coverage, I'll tell you this, are if they have a slot apprentice. I think Drew Bennett is the only person in Ultimate Team that can get that slot apprentice. So if they have him, those corner routes that they can put him on can sometimes burn the man coverage if it's on the wide side of the field. If it's on the short side, you should be able to have the angle and jump it. But also the post routes should beat it. Certain post routes will beat it. So you catch on to your opponent's tendencies. Maybe if he's hitting it with a post route, you leave this 3 receiver hook in the middle of the field to specifically defend that. And yeah, it's just things like that. I'll show it one more time. The adjustments: you press, you shade outside, you shade over the top, and then again, if you're running the advanced or the basic setup, the basic one's going to look like this, where you just put that linebacker in a curl flat, user him. The more advanced one, I could go with this, where I put Derwin there. Again, you should have safeties of the same overall all over the field, so it shouldn't really matter whether you throw a linebacker. I know I'm saying linebacker, but there are safeties, so it shouldn't really make too big a difference. And again, I could always go ahead and user this middle third as well. Just don't bite down on something and get burnt completely over the top. But I throw that and I completely lurk it. You saw the man coverage would probably intercept it if I didn't, and we're actually going to not take this to the house, but I think I'm going to close out the video there. I'm dropping a run defense tomorrow, so turn on your notifications for that. It's a really, really good run D. Make sure you guys check out my other videos. I dropped a wing flex close running video yesterday, and I also have another pass defense I posted on the first day of EA Access. Go check those out. And anyways, follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description. Peace. I'm out of here.